my Liverpool, I'm going to sing your praises. You're the place where history is made, and have been through the ages.
Actually, Liverpool people don't really realise how funny they are till they come away from home.
I was on the bus and there were a couple in front of me reading the paper. It was the time of Princess Margaret's wedding. And they were reading the Echo, and the headline in the Echo said, Princess to wed at Abbey. And one said to the other, fancy them coming all the way to Wavertree.
Let's go round to so-and-so's house, he's got a fire in the parlour, and make our own fun. Singing, reciting, playing instruments, doing your own thing.
We had some Irish stew made in 1892, and the milk had never seen a cow before. Well, the grade of chalk and water, just like the vicar's daughter, for she was made of chalk and water too.
I'm simply what's known as a fill-in, so sit back your ears and sit tight.
Billy Matchett. Well, I've always found him a marvellous comic. He's a man with, I always say, with the sledgehammer approach. He goes out and bashes.
They've just sent me on for a minute or two while they're changing the scene behind. My name in small letters you'll see on the bill. The money I'm getting is much smaller still. I've just got to hang around here till they tell me, then on me the curtain will fall. And in fact, if they hadn't been short of a comic, I wouldn't be on here at all. I was doing very, very well till the First World War broke out. And, of course, that was jigger things up. Billy Bennett came out before me, you see. And he got in again, you see, and I had to wait a bit before I got in.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I have a story to tell. Lend me your ears. If you've not got them with you, your noses will do just as well. What we want today is social reform, tariff reform, and more than likely chloroform. What did Gladstone say after 99? Why, 100, of course, and he was right. I represent the common people, and nobody is more common than I am. We have the press behind us, and if there is one thing I like to see in a newspaper, it's a good feed of fish and chips.
A wonderful woman who is closely associated with Liverpool and Merseyside, Hetty King, the great Hetty King. I learned so much from her.
Tell her the old story on a dark and stormy night. Tell her the old story when there is no bright moonlight. You better get your girl all nervy when her head's all topsy-turvy. Then you'll win through properly too if you do. I'm telling you.
But we used to, in the 1418 war, we used to go around and entertain the wounded soldiers, Tommy and I. He was then a baritone, and I was a boy soprano. A very funny fella, Tom.
God rest his soul, but a great comedian in his own right. I mean, you know, in a very important time for this country during the war and after the war, great comic.
You make a dear old blighty, I'll put you on the train to London town. I'll help to pay your fare to Weston-super-Mare, Birmingham, Leeds or Cleethorpes, for I don't care. So give my kind regards to your mother, toddling home to her you soon will be. So, highty-tiddly-ighty, you'll either go home to Blighty or stay and do a month FB.
The day war broke out, my missus looked at me and she said, what good are you?
Rob Wilton, who of course was a joy, he was a comics comic.
And then the missus said, she said, well, what do you do in the Home Guards? I said, I've got to stop Hitler's army landing. She said, what, you? I said, no, there's Harry Bates and Charlie Evans.
I've done, I think, every branch of showbiz except Shakespeare and ballet. Robert Atkins always wanted me. He said, it's prestige, old boy, you know. You could play bottom, you know, you'd be marvellous. Nobody's nearer the floor than me.
Years ago, when I had my first concert party, Ken Dodd used to work for me. Of course, I couldn't afford him now.
He's a very good radio comic. Yeah. He's so great in the theatre, isn't he? He works so big. He's a very funny comedian.
I was lying in the bath this morning, counting my legs, and I was thinking, by Jove, we've got a lot to be proud of in this country, you know, like biological Brasso and non-stick jockey shorts, and the horseless sausage, and the radio telescope for short-sighted people who can't see the knobs on their transistor.
of the
There isn't a city in the United Kingdom, there isn't a city in the world who could produce a show full of talent like this show. I think it's absolutely marvellous. I'm so proud, I'm so honoured to have been one of the strolling Diddy minstrels.
8 by 10. My lonely world is only 8 by 10.
Let's have a laugh. All join hands all over the theatre. The fella on the end, stick your finger in the light socket.
My name is Frank Abelson, and Billy Marsh and powers that be didn't think that that sounded like a good showbiz name. And I said to Billy, my grandma says I'm number Vaughan. And how about Frankie Vaughan? He said, that's a great idea.
If there's anyone in doubt and they'd like to try me out, give me the moonlight, or give me the girl, and leave the rest to me.
Back at the Liverpool Empire, it's not often we have the chance of getting together, because Jimmy, thank God, now is a star in his own right, and that makes me very, very happy.
I've had lots of telegrams tonight, and isn't it lovely that people think about you? There's one from Cilla Black. Sorry I couldn't be there, couldn't get a babysitter. Oh, well.
Oh, you have your father's face. You're growing up a real hard case, but there's no one can take your place. Go fast asleep for your mommy.
My 20s have been very exciting, you know, with the advent of the Beatles and that great youth cult which we all came in on. The Beatles, Gerry, Cilla.
I never ever thought of it as starting in show business, because you know, I wasn't that type of a person. I just enjoyed singing ever since I can remember. I used to sing with groups like the Beatles and Gerry and the Pacemakers.
Whoa, 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 I've got my ukulele, I've got my ukulele, and all night long I'll sing my song for you.
All I can say to these four lads is more power to their elbow.
Stuart Gillespie, Steve Faye, Mike Burton and George Roper. And what can I say to you all tonight? But love these lads, because they are the comedians.
To look at me, would you believe I'm one of 16 children? I am. I've got 15 brothers and sisters, and it's all on account of my mother being deaf. Every night the old man used to say, well, shall we go to sleep or what? My mother used to say, what?
This copper just pulled me up. He said, blow into this bag. I said, why? He said, me chips are hot.
2 dockers loading gold bullion. There's a bar of gold missing. And the boss said, who's got the bar of gold? Come, Ed. Who's got the bar of gold? And 2 dockers said, we haven't got a darling. He said, if you don't own up, I'll stop it out your wages. Get about the docker walking along the dock road, kicking the tortoise to death. The copper said, what are you doing that for? The docker said, it's been following me about all day.
And I'm sure after them there'll be 4 more very funny lads and 4 more, and we'll keep going. It's a great tradition.
Yeah. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the 8 iron. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the 8 iron. Thank you very, very, very much.
We're seeking for a new lifestyle, for almost like a renaissance of culture, which is Liverpool. This is one good thing about the corporation. You know, they've been very cooperative in this respect, to open a sort of arts centre. The idea being is to throw a net out in the Liverpool, the Merseyside catchment area, to bring in all the talent. And that's a good thing about it. I mean, in going to the corporation and speaking to all the people, even from Noel Stewart downwards, they listen. And we owe that to what we call soft songs. It opens doors.
We'll both be up early tomorrow. A new universe has begun.
I think they've taken the best culture from all the cultures that are in Liverpool, and actually we're just fantastic.
I think Liverpool could be the Florence of Europe, you know.
nothing to talent, incredibly talented city.
We've got a waterfront, you know, it's there, you know, it's, okay, Florence has got a waterfront, Venice has got a waterfront, but we have one and we can do something with it.
They've been at it for hundreds of years now, they must have it right by now.
Do you think they got it right?
Well, as right as you can get it on Earth.
Well, that's the only chance you get. Well, if you don't get it right on Earth, where are you expecting him to get it right?
One thing about what the Liverpool poets have been doing is just that they have tried to make poetry relevant to whatever's going on in the world now.
A concrete park, a no man's landmark. Civilization's okay, but it can't be the real thing.
There's still nowhere in Liverpool that you can say that is the centre of poetry. It's still fragmentary. It needs to be brought together and harnessed and given an identity and a shape.
Yet, in fact, the people themselves are very poetic, you know. It's part of the sort of Liverpool mind.
The great thing about Liverpool is it comes from underneath.
Music on the bus. Just think of what that phrase could mean. Picture dockers singing folk songs all the way from Norris Green. The conductor would be DJ and requests would have to play. The blonde girl sitting at the back, she's 21 today. She just got on a Kirby and is going for a dole. She'd like a song called Help Me, which is sung by Nat King Cole.
The ocean knows her name. Sailors know how proud a ship must be.
I think the strength of the Spinners is that they haven't neglected their grassroots in keeping their club going, you know. This has been the secret of their success.
Music is more concentrated here. You have only one orchestra leading a fairly comfortable existence, whereas in London you have 5 or 6 orchestras cutting each other's throats and all playing the same kind of concert programs. Whereas in Liverpool you haven't got very much choice, but at least you have good programs and the orchestra isn't too overworked.
It's one of the oldest concert-giving organisations in the world, you see. And when it was made into a permanent orchestra in about 1942, I think, that was by David Webster, really, who was the prime mover of that. Mum was when he was working in Lewis's then. And he got Sargent here. That was the start of the permanent orchestra. Sargent was followed by Rignold. And Rignold was followed for a short time by Ephraim Kurtz and Pritchard, and then by Pritchard, and then I came along. We give them a fairly wide mixture. I mean, you wouldn't go to an art gallery and expect to look at the same kind of pictures all the time, would you? I'm not one who says that Schubert is music and John Lennon isn't.
As soon as the outlets appear, or, you know, if they're not there, they'll create them. I mean, the Beatles personalises, you know, the phenomenon as we've seen it, you know, where every kid had a guitar and taught themselves to play.
The whole Liverpool boom was just John, Paul, George and Ringo.
So I'm sure there's a million people out there that would love to see you all jangling away together again.
Well, it's like 90% that George, Ringo and I would record together again. Maybe not as Beatles, you know, under that title. But, like if I wanted a guitarist to play with me, I would ask him. Same as I asked Ringo to play drums.
In the Beatles field too, now I think that, okay, you could have got 4 talented guys in one town. It has happened. I mean, you had the Beach Boys, you've had the Stones. But I think Liverpool has a uniquely kind of good atmosphere.
I feel that art is such an important thing in our lives, it impinges on us so much that I should give the citizens of Liverpool the opportunity of seeing the best there is in modern art.
I am a theatre director. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I want to direct plays, and I want people to come and see them. I also like going to football matches, but I think that if the theatre, in order to survive, is forced to take everything that is most immediate from football matches, then the theatre will kill itself dead.
Two clubs alike in dignity in Liverpool where we set our sea. And Juliet's dad was Everton mad, while Romeo's followed Bill Shankly's team as she was going to Goodison Park, it being on a derby day. He passed her on his way to the match, and pretended that he'd lost his way. Hello there, Jill, can you help me? I'm sweating cobs 'cause it's 10 to 3. If I don't find that Goodison Road, I'm bound to miss Hunt's opening goal. Two clubs alike in dignity in Liverpool where we set our sea.
Everton is like a social occasion. Liverpool is like a pilgrimage.
It's nice to go for Everton. I like the red and white one.
Being chairman of Liverpool Football Club and manufacturing Everton mints poses some questions. Certainly we are not able to sell Everton mints at Liverpool Football Ground.
It's very friendly. You see our fellas coming down the road with their blue scarves on, arm in arm with another fellow with a red scarf on.
Why is everyone football mad? Oh, I hate football, I do.
This guy came on, he said, I'm Derek Dugan's brother. It's absolutely essential that he goes home immediately. This is 20 minutes into the first half.
He arched his back against the bar to save her from the swaying fans. They sang You'll Never Walk Alone, and they left Goodison hand in hand. Two clubs alike in dignity.
We played Zaragoza about 4 or 5 years ago. So we're standing outside, and suddenly appears a figure who comes up and says, are you connected with Everton? So I say, yes. Mr. Holland, who's the chairman and the vice chairman, Sharma. He says, I'm a Liverpudlian, really. He says, but I've come all the way from Madrid to watch your team. He says, you know, it's all the same city. I said, yes, well, what are you doing out here? He said, I'm teaching English.
When I was born, I had 2 brothers and my father. And they looked at each other and thought, we'd better have one with some sense here. We're 3 mugs, we'll make this one a Liverpudlian.
Now and again, I still like jumping into a taxi and say to the taxi man, School of Science, mate, it's 2:45, you know, try and make it.
They were the School of Science, there's no getting away from it. Those Liverpudlians learned off us. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether they've paid their rent yet. I think they still owe us some rent for the ground.
Under the Federation ruling at that time, no other supporters club could be formed within a 3-mile radius of an existing supporters club. But Everton kindly waived that rule and allowed us to...
Oh, join the big crowds of the Goodison Park as backwards and forwards where there's chanting and cheering and singing as well, with 4 letter words such as gold.
Well, I've always been a fan of Everton, almost as long as I can remember, since I came to Liverpool about 50 years ago. And when I was invited to join the board, I was very happy to do so. I thought I might be able to help with my business experience, and I hope I have been of some use to them. Of course, let's say we're in a city which is almost football mad. We have 2 wonderful teams of Everton and Liverpool. If Everton can't win, I'd like Liverpool to win. Obviously, we want Everton to win the Cup and the League and the Derby and the Cesarewitch and everything else.
Mr. Moores was the chairman of Everton at the time when Mr. Catrick was made manager.
Well, this club's had the reputation for being a club which always has players of class and ball skills, or as long as I can remember.
As I came out of Goodison, feeling mighty proud, the lovely April evening sky had not a single cloud. I dived into the nearest pub and shouted out with glee, let's have none of your Leeds United, they're the champions of the league, they're the champions of the league.
We have won the league twice in my term of office here as manager, and I think that it's a greater sign of quality in a team. I'm always optimistic that we play good football. I've always got some doubts about how effective it can be.
His record stands for itself. He's a determined man in many ways, but these are all allied to the one thing, Everton winning, and Everton winning cups, and Everton winning leagues. And this is a great quality in a manager.
I was a young centre-forward, and I found myself changing in the same dressing rooms, as it were, with Billy Dean.
It was like an orchestra. I mean, the team and the rhythm they had, it was really great. I wanted 10 goals in the last 3 games, and somehow I knew I was going to get them. We got 3 in the first match, 4 away at Burnley in the second match, and then 3 against the Arsenal on the Saturday. That was it.
My father used to have this habit of saying to me, "You were born 20 years too late. You never saw Dixie Dean in action."
This shield shows all the 60 goals. It shows 1927, 3 goals at Anfield. 3 in 9 minutes, as a matter of fact. That quiet in the cup.
I consider Alan Ball one of the best competitors I have ever met in football. I would put him amongst some of the greatest inside forwards I've ever known.
Let's see the terraces filled at Goodison, and let's show them we can play, and let's turn it on. I love turning it on at Goodison because when they start to roll and they turn it on, things are happening for it at Goodison. It's like 7th heaven.
I've never been to the Kop, but I imagine that the singing or the applause of the Kop means a great deal to the Liverpool Football Club. A very great awareness of the right moment.
The Kop, one word, the greatest crowd in the world. When we won the league championship in 1968 and Billy Bremner brought the boys to me, I sent him to the Kop end and they wondered what had happened, I think Billy and all our players. But that Kop rose as one man. It's a thing that will live in my memory forever.
The most emotional moments of my whole life have been at things like Anfield.
The word fanatic has been used many times, but I think there must be another word for it. The Anfield spectators. I think it's not fanaticism, I think it's a religion with them. I think as many people go to the church to worship, the thousands that come here to worship. This is a sort of a shrine, it isn't a football ground.
I had to queue all night, I had to push and fight, a ticket's hard to get.
We've had a waiting list of something like 5,000 names, and as we were only losing about 20 per season, it meant that a person couldn't obtain a stand ticket in his lifetime.
Bill Shankly, the Liverpool manager, was beaming all over his face, his arms raised. You'd thought he'd come into a fortune. Don Revie, the Leeds manager, sitting dejectedly not a yard away on his bench. And it's Liverpool away.
Let's drink a drink to Billy the King.
Bill Shankly, in my opinion, is the manager of all managers. He is infected with football. And the more one becomes associated with them, the more you realise just how dedicated he is.
It's a pleasure sort of working for him at the present moment. I hope we keep on winning because I don't fancy working for him because I'll get beat.
He doesn't like to be beaten at all, not in anything, not even playing clock golf. He's very, very keen on fitness and stamina.
Well, I think that if you're going to be an athlete, you've got to be dedicated. And if you're a football player, of course, you've got to be an athlete as well.
Because it's a 90-minute game now, isn't it?
Oh, that's for sure. Well, in actual fact, I used to train for to last for 190 minutes. And I feel that when the whistle blew for the end of the match, when I played, I could have played for another 90 minutes.
He gives everything to the game of football. It's a Liverpool Football Club. And he also tries to be very honest with everybody in the game and at Liverpool. And I think that's Bill Shankly. He's built one of the greatest club sides, I think, that's ever lived.
So I said, while I'm here, Bill, I said, I have this other suit which is ready as a fitting. Oh, yes, try it on, Dennis, he said. So we put it on, and this is now about 3 o'clock on the Friday before the semi-final. That's nice, he said. He said, I'll have that one for Wembley.
In 1942, I think this was a highlight of the career because it was the first time I played for Scotland against England at Hampden Park. It was one of the best international games that we've played in. It was 5-4 for Scotland that finished, and I managed to score on my debut, and Bill Shankly scored the winning goal.
I had to interview Billy Little on the television. Afterwards, he came out to the flat for a cup of tea, and I was shaking like a leaf because I kept thinking, that's Billy Little, and he's drinking my tea out of my cup.
I'm very, very proud of the success which has come to the club this season.
These injuries gave his reserves a chance. Lloyd, Lindsay, Hall, Highway, they were all in the reserves, stepped into the first team, and Clements, of course, did a marvellous job.
This is the first full year as captain, so it's been a great year for us. The lads have done us proud. We reached the semi-final of the Intercities, which is another great thing because they get a bit more experience in Europe. They've got the cup final, they've had a taste of success, even though they got beat. I think there was more people there this time than the last time we won it. You know, there was thousands of people on the way to the St George's Hall, and some of the lads were nearly to tears, as a matter of fact. You don't often see men crying. A couple of them were near to it.
Well, he used to say, bury me in Anfield, as near to the cop as you possibly can. Nearest to the cop, you know, this end as you possibly can. And they did. You know, that's how rabid he was, you know. He used to say, don't care, just don't ever take me anywhere else, just Anfield, as long as it's Anfield, and as near to the cop as you possibly can, so I'll still be able to hear them.
Who do you fancy for the cup? I said Everton next year.
Charleston, don't forget the parents, Stan.
Charleston, don't do anything I want to do, and if you get drunk, I still. Charleston! Don't forget to come back and mind me, sister.
Said how well, and not flirting with the first-class passengers.
Jeez, I'm only going to the back of that.